Well, peeps, hello. It's the hillbilly half-wit. Tommy Robinson was right, and we're going to talk about that now. I'm busy walking around here because my mother said she saw a lamb that was a bit ill here yesterday, and I haven't been able to find it. I caught one up the field, and it just got a bit stuff spray needed between his cleats. I think it's that one. But we're just checking in my beautiful farm. So what we're talking about is, as if people have followed me for a long time, I followed Tommy Robinson since he started. Since he started, I know all about this, with this grooming gangs and things. And you won't believe me really when I tell you where I first found out about this. Now, there's a metal detectorist. I'm not sure if he's still alive now. He's called Peace Havens. Now, this must be 15 years ago, an old guy. And I think he used to work for the civil service. And many years back, when this thing started to come out, he did a video of when he was working for the civil service and how all this had been covered up from before then. And he was mad about it. And that's where I first heard about this grooming stuff. Now then, Tommy Robinson, that's where his video came from, because Tommy Robinson brought it up. And it started to get into the news a bit. And he was classed as a conspiracy theorist and God knows what. And I got to be honest with you, it was more, they were pushing it as far right things then, because the National Front was about. But I personally remember on one of them question time programs, they had the National Front member on there and Jack Straw. And it's not National Front, it's never interested me whatsoever. I'm not into that whatsoever. But he was on that program, and Jack Straw and all the other panel members barefaced lied about it all. And that is a fact. Everything that guy had said about all this, because they were the only ones that were trying to help the areas in Rochdale about that then. And the civil service wanted to cover it all up because Tony Blair was in power and they were bringing all these people in. Pretty much like it is now. So then, obviously Tommy Robinson come to walking around with the National Front and thing, and that happened for a good few years and it's still being ignored. Let me just sit down here. Everything was still being ignored, wasn't it? So I've been on the fence with Tommy Robinson for a long time because it was causing so much trouble, because the mainstream media and all the politicians were basically, every time anything was brought up about this, some kind of inquiry, it was turned into a right-wing haranguing match, and they used Tommy Robinson to be the head of the right wing. And I have to say, up until this last year, everything that he's been involved in, I don't blame the guy, everything that he's been involved in, automatically they turn it to the right wing and things like that. And part of me was thinking they were using him to stop any kind of back chat about it. And I suppose the last couple of months I've realised, no, he was just speaking up. There was part of me that thought he was actually maybe working with the government, because lots of things like that happen. Like Peter Hain was working with the anti-Nazi League and lots of other people stirring the crap. You'll find out in about 20 years' time, lots of these Black Lives Matter. Jeremy Vine as well, I think he's another one. There's quite a few of these people that are working for the state, really. Now, regarding Tommy Robinson, I think I have changed my tune a bit. I'm happy to say when I think I'm wrong. So I think what's come out now has basically proved all of us, which we knew we were correct, and Tommy Robinson, he was right. We've all been vilified. Tommy Robinson's been vilified for the last 20 years for telling the truth. And everybody on the mainstream media, every politician pretty much has called us all names and far right for telling the truth about a thing. And that lady that did a inquiry into the kiddie fiddling a few years ago, I'm trying to remember her name now. That was on YouTube, that inquiry. She did a really, really good job. But the trouble was, she wasn't allowed to go anywhere near the Pakistani grooming gangs. That's what they do. They start out at the start and they say, we're not allowed to find that out. That's how it works. And the inquiry that will come now will be the same. It won't blame anybody because the civil service all get away with it, as they did when Boris was at his party that they set up. So, yeah. And we got people now, even the Prime Minister who's involved in it, all covering it up. They're even tip-Xing out the word Pakistani out of the reports. And all these newsreaders, all these celebrities, all these BBC presenters, all these hangers-on, we're all telling lies. Disinformation. Misinformation. Well, we were all telling the truth about it. And we were getting called all kinds of things. And we're just normal people who knew what was going on. Now, it's shameful. Absolutely shameful. I genuinely don't think nothing will still come of it. Because the only reason they're putting this out now is because they realise that it will come out under reform or something. But even our Welsh government won't give the data to that last inquiry. They're at it as well. It's so I'm going to put the title to this to say Tommy Robinson was right, because he was. If you hate him, if you don't like him, just even if you don't like the working class speaking up for themselves, he was right about this, and all you people who said it didn't happen were wrong. I've been saying it for 20 years. Everybody's been saying it for 20 years. Everybody who said anything, even in your local towns, was basically called some kind of a right-wing lunatic for telling the truth. That groups of Pakistani men were going around and doing really bad things to young girls. And it was all covered over by the police, all covered over by the politicians. Gordon Brown, Tony Blair, all the leadership of the Labour Party, all these local councils have been run by the Labour Party, all pushed it under the carpet. And I think the reason it's coming out is because some of these people are dead, myself, and they can't get into trouble now. That's what the thing is. That's what happened with the Jimmy Savile thing. So that's my one for today. So I'm going to go back down the building and start to shear, I think. The most hated job in farming, in my opinion. I cannot stand it. So, but I forced myself to do it. So, please comment, rate and subscribe. Thank you for listening. And I'm just a normal guy who says what he thinks, okay? Ta-da.